On the planet Ferrarian, the sky always seemed wide. It stretched like a calm silver ocean above open grasslands and slow-rolling hills. Humans had settled there many years ago, building farms, ranches, and small towns far apart from one another. Life on the planet was simple in some ways, but also hard. Everything had to be earned through work, patience, and time. In one of Ferrarian's mining districts, there was a large refinery camp. Huge machines processed minerals from the deep rocky ground. The machines were loud, and dust from the mines settled over everything, giving the air a dry, tired feeling. Many people worked there because they needed money or because they had nowhere else to go. Among these workers was a 15-year-old girl named Mara. Mara had been working at the refinery for a long time, though no one really remembered when she first arrived. She was quiet, kept her head down, and did whatever she was told. Her job was to carry and move crates of mineral fuel to storage areas. The crates were heavy, often too heavy for someone her size, but she never complained. She had learned that complaining changed nothing. If she stopped working, she would lose her place to sleep and her meals. She did not have family to speak for her or protect her, so she worked, day after day, in silence. On a morning like any other, a delivery truck arrived. The ground rumbled a little as it rolled into the yard. The driver stepped out slowly. He was a tall man with sun-worn skin, a steady posture, and calm eyes. His name was Rhett Calloway, and he owned a ranch far from the refinery. He came to the camp only once in a while to deliver feed for the mining district's transport animals, or to pick up supplies for his own land. People recognized him, though he never stayed long. He was known as a man who did not talk much, but when he did speak, he spoke gently. Rhett had spent most of his life working his ranch. He raised herd animals and grew feed crops. The land was peaceful, but it could feel lonely too. Rhett once dreamed of filling his home with laughter and the sound of footsteps besides his own. He had always wanted children, but life had not given him that path. He had accepted it, or at least he thought he had. Still, some days the quiet of his house felt a bit too deep. When Rhett stepped into the refinery yard that day, he noticed Mara almost at once. She was struggling to lift a crate twice her size. Her hands shook each time she tried to pull it off the loading platform. She didn't stop. She didn't look around. She didn't ask for help. She simply kept trying. Something about her determined silence caught Rhett's attention. Most young people, if they were forced to do something too difficult, would show frustration or resentment. But Mara had the look of someone who was simply used to being tired. He approached the overseer and asked in his quiet way, "Why is that girl carrying crates alone? She is too young for that job." The overseer shrugged without concern. "She works like everyone else. There's always work to do. She has no family and nowhere to go. So she earns her own place." Rhett did not argue. He did not raise his voice. He only looked again at Mara. Her hair was tied back with a frayed piece of string. Her hands were blistered, but she kept moving. Rhett saw something in her expression that reminded him of many difficult years he himself had endured. A tired strength that should not have been needed in someone so young. Mara felt his gaze but did not stop. She had learned that new people came and went from the refinery often. None of them ever changed anything. Most of them did not even notice her. She did not expect anything different now, yet Rhett did not turn away. Something inside him, something quiet and steady, made a choice in that moment. A simple choice, but one that would change 2 lives. He waited until the end of the work shift. Then he sat down beside the overseer's desk and asked for the correct papers. He asked slow questions. He asked how guardianship worked for someone who had no family records. He asked who he needed to speak to. He did not demand. He did not accuse. He simply worked through the legal steps one by one with calm patience. The process took days. Rhett traveled to the district council building several times. He answered questions about his income, his home, and his preparedness to care for a minor. He showed records of his ranch and his livestock. He signed forms and waited in long lines. Some people might have given up halfway through, but Rhett had lived many years working patiently on the land. Paperwork could not discourage him. During this time, Mara continued her work. She had no idea someone was trying to change her life. She simply did what she always did: carry crates, eat simple meals, sleep in the worker dorms, and wake before sunrise to do it again. Then one day, a council officer walked into the yard. The overseer was called. Papers were presented. The overseer read them with surprise, but the approval was official and complete. Mara was called over. She came quickly, hands still dusty. She stood straight, unsure what she had done wrong. The council officer spoke gently. "Mara, starting today, you are no longer required to work here. You have been placed under the legal guardianship of Rhett Calloway. He has agreed to provide you a home, education, and care. You are free to go with him." Mara did not understand at first. The words felt too large and too strange. Free, home, care. These were words that belonged to other people, not her. She looked up at Rhett in confusion. His expression was steady and calm. He did not smile widely or act dramatic. He simply said, "You do not have to stay here anymore. Come with me. You can rest. You can learn. You will be safe." Mara hesitated. She did not know what safety felt like. But she could see something in his eyes, something true. He was not pretending. He did not want anything from her. He simply wanted to help, so she nodded. They traveled together to the ranch. The land stretched far and open, with soft wind brushing the grass. Herd animals grazed behind long fences. The house was modest but warm. There was space. There was quiet. Not the heavy quiet of isolation, but a gentle quiet like a deep breath. Rhett showed her a room that had been empty for years. The bed had clean sheets. The window looked out over a field of silver grass. When Mara sat on the bed, she realized she did not have to get back up to continue working. She did not have to hurry. She did not have to be afraid of losing her place. She could breathe. Rhett did not ask questions about her past. He did not rush her to talk. He simply said, "You will work here only if you want to learn. You will rest when you are tired. You will be treated with respect." Those words were simple, but for Mara they were new. The first night she fell asleep quickly. She did not dream of alarms, supervisors, or heavy crates. She slept as though her body finally understood. It no longer needed to fight every moment just to survive. She slept in peace. That was the beginning, not of something loud or dramatic, but of something gentle, something healing, something that would change both of their lives for. Life on the ranch began to move with a gentle rhythm. Morning light came softly over the fields, touching the grass with pale gold. The animals woke slowly, stretching and calling to one another. Mara would wake early too, but not because she was afraid of being late. She woke because the ranch had a peaceful silence that felt safe and natural. She liked seeing the sunrise from her window. It felt like the day was welcoming her instead of pressing down on her. Rhett always started the day by tending the animals. He made sure they had food and clean water, and he checked the fences so the herd stayed safe. Mara followed him and watched at first. She did not know how to handle animals, how to clean barns, or how to check feed equipment. Rhett did not expect her to know. He simply showed her slowly and kindly. He would say things like, "Take your time," or "There is no hurry," or "You will learn." Everyone learns one step at a time. Mara found these words unusual. In her old life, everything was about working faster, doing more, not making mistakes. Here, mistakes were part of learning. If she dropped something or forgot a step, Rhett did not get angry. He only showed her again calmly, without impatience. Over time, she began to relax. Her shoulders started to rest lower instead of tense. Her hands moved with steadier motions. She started to feel comfortable speaking. At first, she spoke only when necessary. Then she asked questions. Then she laughed once, just a small laugh, when a baby animal tried to chew her boot. Rhett noticed the laugh, though he did not say anything. He simply smiled a quiet smile and continued working beside her. During the evenings, they ate simple meals together. Rhett was not a fancy cook, but his meals were warm, filling, and comforting. Soup, baked bread, cooked vegetables, sometimes stew. Mara helped chop vegetables and wash dishes. They talked about the ranch, about the sky, about the weather. They did not talk about her past unless she chose to share something on her own. Rhett understood that healing does not come from forcing someone to speak. It comes from giving them space to feel safe enough to speak whenever they are ready. Weeks turned into months. The ranch no longer felt quiet in the lonely way it once had. It felt full, even with only 2 people living there. Every day had purpose. Every day had gentle progress. Rhett taught Mara how to ride the hover cart across the fields. She learned how to recognize when the animals were restless or hungry. She even began to take care of a young calf who needed extra attention. The calf followed her around as if she were its older sibling. She named it Pebble because it was small and round like a stone. Mara had changed. Her face, once tight with worry, looked relaxed. Her eyes, once tired and uncertain, began to shine with thought and curiosity. She felt like she belonged somewhere for the first time in her life. But seasons on Ferrarian could be harsh, and one year, the planet entered a long drought. Rain stopped falling. Clouds were thin and distant. The rivers sank deeper and deeper into the earth. The grass in the fields began to turn dry and yellow. The animals drank more water because of the heat, but there was less water to give them. Rhett checked the ranch's water storage every day. He measured how much was left and how long it might last. Even with careful use, the numbers were worrying. If the drought continued, the herds across the valley would not survive. Not only on Rhett's ranch, but on every ranch nearby. Other ranchers held meetings to decide what to do. Rhett took Mara with him. She sat quietly at first, listening. The ranchers argued and worried. Some said they should sell their animals to distant markets, but transport was expensive and uncertain. Others thought they should wait for rain, but no one knew when rain would come again. Mara listened closely. She remembered the machines and equipment she used to work around at the refinery. She remembered how irrigation lines worked and how fuel storage pipes were repaired. She realized something. The ranches had old water drones stored in barns, drones that used to control weather patterns and direct moisture across fields. They had been unused for years because no one needed them when rain was regular. Mara raised her hand slowly. Everyone felt quiet. She did not like speaking in large groups, but she had something meaningful to say. She said, "The drones can be fixed. They are old, but they will still work. If we connect them to the valley irrigation river and program them to release water evenly, we can share water across all ranches. No herd will lose everything." Some ranchers looked doubtful, but others remembered the old systems and nodded thoughtfully. Rhett looked at Mara, not with surprise, but with quiet pride, as if he had always believed she would speak when the time was right. A group of ranchers agreed to try. Mara helped lead the repair work. She climbed onto old platforms, checked wiring, replaced broken circuits, and recalibrated software. Rhett helped where he could, though much of this knowledge was Mara's own from watching refinery machinery. She worked patiently, just as Rhett had taught her to work with the animals. It took many long days under the hot sun, but the drones finally rose into the sky on humming engines. They released stored moisture into the dry air. The entire valley watched as thin mist spread across the fields and soft clouds began to form above. Rain did not come right away, but the soil regained enough moisture to keep the herds healthy. The ranches survived the worst of the drought because of Mara's idea. The council called for a gathering. Mara's name was spoken with respect. People thanked her not because she worked hard, but because she had thought carefully and shared a solution. They called her wise. They called her calm. They said she had given the valley hope. Mara felt something warm in her heart. She was not used to being seen this way. She looked at Rhett and he looked back, steady and full of quiet meaning. He did not need to say that he was proud. She already knew. Seasons changed once again. Rain returned, slowly but surely. Grass grew back green. The herds grew strong and healthy. The ranchers worked together more now, remembering how cooperation had saved them. Mara stood on the porch one evening watching Pebble, now much bigger, run across the field. She had once thought her life would always be heavy and tiring. She had once believed she would never have a place where she felt safe. Now she stood in a home she chose to stay in, not because she had nowhere else to go, but because she liked the person she was becoming here. Rhett stepped out onto the porch and sat beside her. They did not speak. They did not need to. The quiet between them was warm and full, not empty. They had not become family through blood. They had become family through patience, trust, gentle days, and shared effort. They had saved each other, and that changed everything.